voice here, Dennis Cox. I'm Tim Donnelly. We are live, coming to you live from Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C., the site of the Atlantic Coast Conference men's basketball tournaments. We've been taking in the games throughout the morning or afternoon, however you want to call it. And we'll be here throughout the night. We'll be here throughout the show. We'll be here throughout the week. Graham back at the studio keeping us up and running. And first of all, I think maybe simultaneously the most underrated sporting event in American sports and the most appreciated by those that know. It's like it's the hole-in-the-wall restaurant that gets crowded, and you're like, man, I wish it was back to where it just had great food and only our part of the country knew it, is the ACC tournament. It is something different to everybody. It is unbelievable. This is the last year. We are in the building for the last year where we'll only be 15 teams. Or actually, it'll be 15 teams next year. We just might have different teams in it.
3 are going to be left out. I had to get a T-shirt. I had to get a T-shirt.
Do you know what's funny about this? I find myself becoming the people I used to make fun of.
Oh,
isn't that what happens?
That's usually what it becomes.
I used to make fun of the people that would say the ACC was 8 teams, and they'd be mad that like Miami and Virginia Tech and Boston College were in the ACC, because I'm going like, no, that is the ACC. They're part of it. What are you doing? They're like, no, the ACC is 8 teams, right? The whole ACC tournament is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you're done. And I would make fun of them. And now I already know next year I'm going to be going, what the heck is Stanford doing here?
Yeah.
What SMU? Especially if it's at the expense of a traditional ACC team. If they don't make it because you got to make room for Cal, I will be the old guy, and the young people will be laughing at me. But either way, we have a 15-team tournament. It's underway. Some have already seen their seasons come to a close. We have to give a shout-out to NC State because they're still playing and we're here, which was not a guarantee. Yesterday, they played Louisville. They had to win the game just to have us in the building at the same time as one of their games. And they held up their end of the bargain. Got to give them credit for not packing it in. Actually, one of the concerns for State is, or I should say was, motivation, right? They came into the ACC tournament on a 4-game losing streak. Their best player, at least their best player this year, DJ Horn, didn't play. He was held out with a lower body injury. There's a lot of reasons why you could have just said, you know what's looking mighty good right now? A trip home.
Yeah.
You know what's looking, maybe a couple straight days where I don't have to have cardio. You know what's looking good? A little bit of rest and relaxation, a little R&R. And they didn't do that. There was an urgency to their game. Now, did they start fast? Heck no. Did they start terribly? Heck yes. Do you have to give Louisville a little bit of that credit? Sky Clark shooting the lights out. Sure. Here's Kevin Keats on Louisville coming out aggressive.
I thought Louisville came out very, very aggressive. I thought Kenny made a really great decision, kind of starting 4 guards. And, starting Tylor was it gave them a tremendous advantage. I thought they moved the ball. I thought they came out very aggressive. They drove the ball, got to the free throw line. We talked about it at halftime. It was a shootout. Our defense wasn't very good. And then we talked about making some adjustment, guarding the ball. When you get a guy like Sky Clark, who is in the tournament, who's playing well, you got to really defend him. And I thought he had a tremendous game against us, and he played really well.
Played really well. You know what? NC State weathered the storm. That's what they did. They won by 9. The spread was 9.5. They did exactly what they should have done. It's, you don't draw pictures on the scorecard.
Just win, baby.
They took a weird way to get there, but they got where they should go. The best example of what NC State did yesterday is Casey Morcell's game. Because if you remember, the game was going on while we were on air yesterday, and Casey Morcell started off shooting ice cold. And I was a little worried because Morcell was one of the guys, he along with Jaden Taylor, that were going to be looked to replace DJ Horn's scoring. And if those 2 guys weren't getting it done, where was that going to come from? Morcell decided, you know what? They don't draw pictures on the scorecard. I'm going to get 25 points. And I don't care what it looks like. He walked away with 25 points, but he grinded his way to 13 of 13 from the free throw line. He didn't start, it's not like, in the second half he came out and he was knocking down more threes. It's not, all of a sudden he was hitting tough jumpers. It was by any means necessary, right? When you're playing a team like Louisville, by the way, Louisville, not a very good team this year. They will be a team that will likely be on the fringe of making the ACC tournament next year. And there is something to be said for, State was just the more talented team. But when the shots weren't falling early, they had to kind of go, all right, it's the equivalent of a football team saying we're just going to run the ball. Mm-hmm. We're just going to remember that we're bigger and stronger, and it's going to be boring, and we're not going to be on SportsCenter top plays, but we're going to win the game. And Casey Morcell said, free throws aren't going to get me on SportsCenter's top plays, but I'm going to make them all. I'm going to get to the line a bunch, and that's what they did in the second half to go from NC State was down 12 in the first half to end up winning by 9. It wasn't pretty. No. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing. There's not a lot of trending videos. What's that's like the modern SportsCenter top plays, right? Like trending.
Yeah.
It didn't have any of that, but they bought in, and the fight from the program was something to be commended.
And like you said, it was that run the ball mentality. Like, all right, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4, 3rd and 2, 1st and 10. Like every you've heard that from probably every football coach you ever have. Like, hey, if you just get 4 yards of play, it's all you gotta do. That's what they did. They just grinded it out.
We were watching
play at a time. One possession.
We were watching the Florida State game. Dennis and I, we were sitting out courtside watching the Florida State Virginia Tech game. I think it was a parent of a Florida State player was right behind us, and they wanted him to do 2 things: 1, rebound; 2, be solid. I'm not sure what that means, but it was when they had the ball on offense. There was a dad would just go, be solid, be solid over and over again. And then when they were on defense, it was just rebound.
Get that rebound. That's all it was. That's all it was.
And it reminded me of kind of State, right? They went from like, let's hit threes, let's be flashy, let's have footwork in the post. And then by the end, they were like, get to the free throw line, rebound by any means necessary. And they got the win. And now they play Syracuse tonight, which we'll talk about a ton leading up to the game. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. It should be a really, really fun game. State's going to have to play significantly better than they did yesterday, but going to that ground and pound, grinded out style earned them the right to start a little bit differently against Syracuse. And maybe DJ Horne is able to play. He tried warming up yesterday. You never know what one more night's rest, one more ice and heat session with the trainers, and one more rehab session is going to do. And if he can get back out onto the floor, he can help you start a little bit faster than you did yesterday, which is pretty darn important.
I think it's going to be important to get him back, even if he just plays 15 minutes.
Even if he just stands in the corner
and
shoots
threes.
I'm not joking when I say that, because even if he is stationary in the corner, you can't leave him open, right?
No.
He could shoot set shots and knock them down at a rate higher than most guys. So, just creating that spacing for others to drive and for the post guys to work, whether it's extra hustle by Ben Middlebrooks or extra, spins and footwork from DJ Burns or Diarra catching lobs, you're going to need that spacing. And DJ Horne can do that, even if he isn't, if his first step is 25% of what it was, then you need to see that.